first thing I'd like to ask is, all right, so talk about a little bit where were you when we first started working together? What was that situation? And yeah, we'll start there.
Okay, so I'll give a little background myself. I went to school at Michigan State University. While I was there, I studied electrical engineering. Math and science just came pretty naturally to me. I knew I wanted to work in tech after college, so I figured I'd get into that. I had an internship experience doing tech sales at Texas Instruments, and then I went back to school and then did a co-op at DT Energy. And so upon graduating, I knew I wanted to get into like something people-facing, so I took a job doing engineering consulting. And I did that for 2 years. And then, after 2 years, I'm gonna be honest, like I just didn't really love the job. When I took the job, I was under the impression I would be doing a significantly like client-facing role. That's what they loved about me in the interview. And my boss harped on that. And at the beginning, I was just thrown deep in, and I'm doing engineering consulting, but it's basically just engineering. Like I did maybe 10 hours a week of like actual people-facing stuff. So I was doing 50, 60, 70 hours a week of like head down engineering, going through hundreds of drawings, installing circuit breakers, transformers, doing wiring diagrams, schematics, dealing with physical layouts, dealing with civil engineers, CAD technicians, NIA engineers, transmission line engineers. And, it was a grind. The company was great. It was an awesome company, but I was just like, it kicked my ass. And definitely like during COVID is when I really started to just like not enjoy it. And I was just, when I was forced to just like wake up, roll over my bed, sit at my desk, work for 10 hours, and then eat dinner, and then go back to sleep and repeat 5 days a week was when I was like, I was at a very low point. I was just fucking miserable. And, I just said, fuck it. And I quit my job. Am I allowed to swear here?
Go for it.
Yeah. I just said, fuck it, and quit my job. And didn't really have a plan. I hit up Jamie because, I'd known him from, college, and I knew he was a high achiever. So I knew he wasn't one of those like bullshit career coaches. Like he had worked at Goldman Sachs and left to do this. So it's not like he's just trying to scam us out of money. I'd known him well. So there's like already an implicit trust there. And so I talked to him and I was like, hey, I had an internship doing tech sales and I liked it a hell of a lot more than I liked my previous job. And I know for a fact that salespeople don't work twice as many hours as engineering consultants. So I had a feeling that's what I wanted to work with. And, definitely I wanted to obviously jump right into like, let's get me a job, man. But at the beginning, there was a lot of lifestyle coaching, which at the beginning I was like, all right, I'm not really, understanding the value in this, but definitely a lot of that teaches you, a lot, like it's a lot of like introspective work where you kind of get, it seems tedious at first, but it does kind of allows the whole, coaching to come together because you do gain a lot of like habits and you get to learn a little bit more about yourself. You get to learn more about other people that succeed. You get to really, it was really eye-opening because it truly asked me to like be like, what do you want? And I was at a point where I was like, I don't really fucking know what I want, but I had a feeling maybe tech sales. So
and one of the things too is go back. So I remember like in the beginning when we first started working together, you talked about like, I love the people that I'm working with, but I don't love the work. And it was when COVID hit, you started realizing that separation.
Oh yeah. That was a huge thing. That's what allowed me to put up with my old job for so long, was like being in the office, shoot the shit with like the guys I worked with, get the happy hours, working events, working downtown. But when I was like stuck in my apartment and I wasn't allowed to like go get drunk with my friends or do anything cool that would like relieve work stress, I was like, I fucking hate what I do. And so, I quit, started working with Jamie, got to learn about myself, got to develop good habits. I've, put a lot more emphasis on, a lot of stuff he taught me like really shows like health is really paramount. Like I've gotten in significantly better shape and it really impacts my performance. I eat way healthier now. I focus. I try to get sleep more often. I even meditate sometimes, which I never had ever done before. So that stuff was all super helpful. And then when it came down to like finally trying to, get a job, he helped me out a shit ton with my LinkedIn, helped me out with my resume, but most importantly, he like taught me a lot about like the networking aspect, which I thought was like that. I think that was the most invaluable part because I had a feeling I want to do tech sales, but the networking required me to reach out to people, have conversations with them, learn.
Yeah, and talk about, so you targeted, so you knew that you wanted to do sales, but you weren't sure specifically what type of sales that you wanted to do, but you knew you liked the technical side, and because you had that electrical engineering background. But talk about how did you narrow it down to targets, and then talk about your networking, because you crushed the networking process.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I'm, like anyone, if you Google, I know I want to get into sales, and I figured tech was the best industry for me. I mean, it was always interesting, and I have an engineering background, so I figured it was a very good fit. But I mean, you can Google tech sales, and there is fucking 1 million different jobs. Like it's a huge umbrella of different types of work. But I did more research. I read some books, and I had a really strong, feeling that I wanted to get into cloud-based sales. Really interesting, constantly new, innovating, and it's just growing so much. It's a great industry to get in. And so, Jamie helped me out with a lot of my networking cadence, and I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. And obviously, me having a very well put together LinkedIn definitely helped out with this part. But I got to, I reached out to people from every main tech cloud company that I had any inkling of interest in, whether that be AWS, VMware, Cisco, IBM, Dell, MongoDB, you name it. And I talked to all these different people, and it wasn't.
How many people do you think that you actually talked to?
Oh, dude, I like look through it because I gotta do the email, like to follow up with them and give them an update. It was like 60, 70 people. Like I talked to a fucking shit ton of people, but it was all super helpful because I had a feeling I wanted to do tech sales, but I really didn't know until I networked with these people and learned about like what they did, what their background is, how they got there, what they do as a role. And I gave them a background on me, and they're like, oh, dude, like, and it was really cool. A lot of these people were like, hey, dude, like I work for, X company, don't come work here. Like if I were you, I work for this company, this company. And so as I had these conversations, I would start to filter companies out, and I'll start to focus more on other companies, start to focus on different roles. I had a lot of people be like, hey, the tech sales, working for an Amazon or a Google or like an IBM seems super enticing. But a lot of people were like, hey, if you get in with some of these younger companies, and you can grow, you can stand out, and as these companies grow, you can grow within the company. So you get promoted faster, you start making more money, things like that. Because, as much as, and I had Salesforce is a company that I interviewed with too. And as much as that's a great company to work for, there's a lot of people working there, man, and you can get easily lost in the shuffle, and it's hard. You get promoted way slower than some of the smaller companies. So the networking was huge because I got to meet some really interesting people, got to learn about the role, got to get some connects in the industry, and it helped out a ton because once you get these people, because when you talk to them and they're like, hey, like I don't need anything from you, I just want to talk to you about your role because I have hated my career and I want to get into tech sales. And then when they see that you just genuinely are an ambitious person, people kind of take note that you like reach out to them too. It's a fun thing to do. They get they really like get behind you. And I got referrals from I don't know, like 15 different companies. I interviewed a ton of places.
You had a lot of interviews, man. You dominated that networking process.
Yeah. I had a ton of interviews, and I finally found a company that like was exactly what I was looking for. I got a job at Cloudflare, so they're like an internet network company. So essentially, companies run their internet servers through us, and we offer tons of things like content delivery network, DDoS protection, firewall, all these type of things. Like our main thing is security. So, when a company gets like hacked, they immediately come to us like, hey, like we'll join you guys, help like fix this kind of shit.
And what was one of the draws for you Because there were a lot of different tech companies that you were talking to, but what was one of the biggest draws for that company for you, for Cloudflare?
Well, a couple of them. For one, that was a company that was not on my radar at all. But I had two different, like, very experienced, like, intelligent account executives at like other companies. I think one was like HP, one was maybe VMware or Dell, and they were like, dude, like Cloudflare is legit. And I was like, okay, that's the second person who's recommended him. I'm gonna start reaching out. I networked with them. Interviewed there, you know, and the interview process went well. And a lot of the stuff that like Jamie taught me about how to kind of like shape my story,
How to
people be like, you know, concise with what I'm saying, what to say. Like, I fucking killed my interview because of a lot of the coaching that I got. And like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, it went really well. I started off last week with the company, and you know, it opened up at like the most select team to do business development on, and I had been recommended by someone who had interviewed me that they wanted me specifically to work with them. So, you know, I mean, all that together, exactly what I wanted. Like, I really can't complain at all. I'm pretty happy. Definitely way happier than I was a year ago, for sure. So,
and you don't have to give any numbers, but in terms of financial upside, is there a good future for where you are?
Oh yeah, so good. Yeah, I was like talking to a couple, my buddy and stuff, and like they said their on target earnings are like, it's a company where you'll make six figures pretty much off the bat as long as you like try hard and like, you know, are decently good at sales.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so you started off position that you didn't like. We worked together. You transitioned. You got the tech sales job that you wanted. There's good financial upside. There's a lot of other people that I talk to that are consultants that have thought about going into sales or have thought about making a transition. And what you did is different, because a lot of consultants believe that if they're in consulting, they can only go industry and they can only go into the type of industry that they were doing work. So last piece of advice that you would share for, imagine that a consultant or someone else is listening where they're in a job that they don't like, they want to make a transition. What would be the biggest advice that you would share for them?
Yeah, I mean, like, and it was pretty interesting too, because I had some people that I networked with were like, hey dude, like, I don't think you can get a job immediately. Like, you might have to do like an in-between, because I was doing engineering consulting and I wasn't doing cloud or tech. Like, I was in the fucking utility industry, which is super boring and like not interesting and not at all like, you know, cloud-based software as a service, you know, company. And so people were like, hey, you might have to do like a transition where you do like a sales job at like a utility company or like an electrical component company, and then use that to like catapult yourself to cloud. And I ended up not having to do that. And my current job pays just as much as my previous job, and just as much as my previous job. And that's with like me expecting to just like do like my quota. And if I exceed it, I'll fucking double how much I make. So definitely excited. I'm really happy I quit my job. Really happy about where I'm at right now. And I really can't can't complain at all.
And the coolest part too is, because you started here, you're building a future within sales that the world's going to be your oyster. You're at a very fast growing company within a fast growing industry.
And with all the networking too, like I have a bunch of connects in the industry right now who might be able to help out. And, you know, tech sales is an industry we can kind of bounce back and forth all the time between companies. So I'll now have connects at like basically everywhere.
Boom. Well, any final words you'd share with anyone who watches this?
Yeah, I mean, like, quitting a job is scary. I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of people were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, whatever. But yeah, I ended up doing it, and I literally did not regret it for like a second. And I went without working for like a couple months, but that was mostly on me. I had like some money saved up and kind of went vacationing and shit. But like, I have no regrets about how things went. Very happy with where I'm at. And so, you know, yeah,
awesome.
I guess if I had to say, it depends on what you're doing as a career. My previous job, I wasn't really given. I didn't really have like the luxury of being able to look for other jobs while working, because I was just absolutely always like just
hours, yeah,
just nonstop. It was like every project I'd be given it, and 30 minutes in, I'm already behind budget and or over budget and behind like deadline, like, you know, past the deadline. So I was just like, I just never have time to like put in the effort to network. if you have a job that gives you some free time, like it's huge. And I mean, like where I'm currently at in like life, like I've been able to like really improve my work-life balance, gain hobbies, like do shit. I can watch like Netflix shows now. I can hang out with my friends more often. I'm really happy about how things went out.
And I just want to bring it back to, and you're still on path to make more money. Like significantly better lifestyle, and you're going to be making a lot more money.
Exactly.